My name is Drew Peterson. I'm a MFA candidate for 2013 from the Print Media Department.
So what are you doing right now, Drew?
I am mixing the black ink for a 4-color separation screen print that I am printing directly onto the wall. I actually created a surface on the wall by applying a thin coat of drywall mud and then pulled the mask away. So I have a surface that's about 1/16 of an inch upraised from the wall. It's almost the thickness of paper, so it gives the illusion that it might be paper, but in fact is now a part of the architecture and a part of the space.
So will these be in the MFA show this year?
Not these particular prints. This project is, I'm focusing on the sort of site specificity. So these images are from my studio, screen printed on the studio wall. For the MFA show, I'll be doing a similar sort of technique, working the surface of the wall. I've taken photos of the MFA space, and I'll be taking more photos, but the images that I will be printing there are specific to that space. I'm not sure what they'll be yet. I've been sort of trying to figure it out as I go. But the printing color separations, it's 4 colors, cyan, magenta, yellow, black. It's widely used in commercial printing. If you look closely at a newspaper, you'll see the same sort of dot pattern that I'm printing. But it's able to replicate the quality of a photograph. So I'm printing the final color on here, should really bring it back together. I'm interested in how the image, viewing it at this distance is very different. It starts to fall apart. You get to see the dot pattern that's happening. But as you walk back, 5-10 feet, as an image, it becomes more resolute and becomes closer to the actual photograph. So I'm interested in the sort of shift that a viewer is going to make as they draw themselves near to these images and how they might understand them from a further distance.
And these ones are finished?
Those ones are finished, yeah. Those are the first and second attempts, and I'm pretty happy with them. I purposely kind of brought them in 2 separate directions. The one on the right is, I'm sort of understanding it as more of a ground. I like working from like a photographic base and then printing elements on top of it that are either hand-drawn or some sort of other aesthetic shift. And then this one is a more direct photograph of my studio space from about 2 months ago. And the image I'm printing now is from about this time last year. So it's very much in the present, but at the same time the imagery, for me, has a relationship to the many different, I guess, experimental stages I've gone through over the course of the 2 years here. So I created this little shelf, which is my printing buddy, and then the images on the screen are all registered 5.5 inches from the bottom. So I've made it easier for myself in printing alone to have kind of a system that allows for registration to go smoothly and also to free up my hands so I can print.
Yeah, seems a really nice setup that you have going. So it seems like, from what I know of your work, you're really interested in really experimenting with the print process, right? Like, I know some of your other works, you were laying down watercolor through the screen, and now you're printing directly onto the wall, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you talk a little bit about maybe some of that experimentation?
Yeah, I come from a pretty strong printmaking background. I've worked as an assistant printer and a print publisher, and so I have a really I'm really familiar with traditional techniques in printmaking. And so I think I've used a lot of my time here trying to kind of work outside of that box. there's a time when I really strayed. I just stopped making prints altogether, and then I realized I kind of threw out the baby with the bathwater. So I came back to it and kind of addressed it from several different angles. The watercolor pieces are really fun because they're loose, and then I work back into them with more structural elements. And for me, they sort of occupy a territory closer to painting. And then these, they actually are pretty close for me to painting as well. I really just get one chance. I've kind of created the rule that like I just like approach it, I do it. If it's not perfect, I mean, I easily can paint over this and try it again. But I'm just like, this is here and now. It's like do the best you can, and whatever slips happen become almost gestural, which I think is really interesting. So here we go. I hate it when slips happen, but that's life, right?
And they can be happy accidents at times.
Right. Yeah, happy accidents. That's just a matter of perception. Okay. All right, I think I'm good here.
Awesome.
We have enough black here.
What's your favorite part of the process?
That moment right after I pull the screen up. Okay, so I think that's good enough here. This is it. Weird.
Are you happy with it?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, it's the coloration's like definitely different than what I was expecting, but you know that's kind of why I'm doing it here in my studio to get it right. But I don't know. And then again, I step back 10 feet, and I think it's gonna definitely be really different. But yeah, ultimately, I'm really happy with it. This off.
What is the image? Exactly. What am I looking at?
The image, so like I said, like when I drifted away from printmaking, I ended up making a bunch of plaster forms and dyeing them. I make like these acrylic baths, and I dip, kind of treated canvas and plaster, and just kind of allowed the baths to create a sort of coloration under the forms. And so this is an image of a folded piece of canvas on the floor, soaking in the acrylic bath. And then this part's kind of fun too. Yeah, definitely, like the image changes quite a bit from like the further you get from it.
I have to take the camera back. Yeah, it gets definitely more photographic.
Yeah. It's got a little paintbrush on the bottom.
Oh, yeah. Now I see it. Yeah, when you're close up, it's really hard to see that.
Right.
Right.
So that's exciting for me, I think.
Well,
Success.
we can look forward to seeing this process or this body of work in the MFA show.